Now, it's not very often that I get a sneak peek of a watch early on in the year, and it sticks with me all the way up until its release. Sometimes we get a preview of a watch all the way in February for it to come out in December, and by that point we've all completely forgotten about it. And it is probably the most tiresome story in the watch industry at this point, where a brand reaches into its vintage archive to find an undiscovered model that the enthusiasts used to love and we've all forgotten about, to revive it and bring it out from the archive, only to tweak the design and completely change it from that original form factor and basically ruin it from what it used to really be loved for. However, one brand did the exact opposite of that earlier this year when they showed me the very first preview image of this new vintage revival piece. A watch plucked from their archive with a bit of a tweak to make it suited for a better modern audience. However, the design language was relatively kept pretty similar to that original piece from 1968. Now, the watch is one that most people have forgotten about, and honestly, the brand in the enthusiast mind is one that most people have forgotten about as well. That brand is Caravelle by Bulova, and the watch is the Sea Hunter. And while that naming convention might seem a little bit odd in modern times, it actually historically does make sense, as Caravelle is a sub-brand to Bulova, being brought about in 1962 to compete with Timex, making jeweled movements for the masses at affordable prices, competing right at that Timex level, where Bulova was still that step above. Flash forward to today, and Caravelle is actually more known as a mall watch, competing still at that entry-level price point. However, in the enthusiast mindset, they've really been relegated out of the catalog. Bulova now looks to change that by introducing the Caravelle by Bulova line, with a Caravelle-friendly price tag, but Bulova finishing. Now, the Sea Hunter that they're using as this revival model to really relaunch the Caravelle brand into the enthusiast mind is a pretty interesting model for them to choose. It takes reference from the 1968 model, which at the time was a pretty quirky model for Caravelle to begin with. They were using primarily Japanese automatic movements, but for this particular model in 1968, they swapped it out with a Swiss automatic movement, putting Swiss made on the dial for the first time. Now, that caliber only made it into the reference for 1 year, making that watch pretty rare and actually a little bit desirable, meaning that I've only seen that reference once, and that was one vintage example that I loaned from the Watch Preserve in order to write my review for Worn & Wound. Fast forward to now, and Bulova is not opting to use the Swiss caliber in the new one, instead going back to the same Japanese movements in order to keep that price point down. But what they are offering here is a relatively entry-level diver in order to once again compete at that lower end price point for a great entry-level watch that might solve the question that everyone asks us: what is the best entry-level watch that I should buy? And while the answer to that question used to be the old SKX, this watch has long since been discontinued, leaving a hole in the market that I think the Caravelle Sea Hunter might be filling. So let's take a closer look at this watch and see if it really does fill the void, and see if it might be the right watch for you. Visually at first, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this might be the original, given the commitment to the original design language down to that faux aged color lume. Where things begin to differentiate though is in the dimension set and of course the materials. This new Sea Hunter does bear a new case diameter of 39mm, which is a large upsize from the original 35mm, suited of course for a more modern audience that demands a larger watch. As is typical with modern watches, the thickness here has been increased dramatically, pushing up to 14.3mm, due in part to the tested 200 meters of water resistance, or 660 feet as denoted on that dial, which is achieved through a combination of a screw-down crown and screw-in caseback. A good portion of that thickness though does come by way of the domed mineral crystal sitting proud of that bezel. The crystal does add a bit of vintage charm, only distorting slightly at its very edges and doing a pretty good job of cutting down on glare, except in very direct light situations. Thanks to a relatively compact lug-to-lug of 45.5mm, the Sea Hunter wears true to size and will fit a wide variety of wrists, feeling right at home on my large-sized wrists, just as it will on medium to small. Now, typically here I would take a moment to go over the bracelet that comes with the watch sitting between those 20mm lugs, which overall is a pretty fine bracelet with brushed links, a fold-over stamped clasp with a safety latch, a dive extension and 3 points of micro adjust, and solid end links with quick release spring bars. However, those quick release spring bars made it just too easy to take the bracelet off immediately, throwing it right back in the box and sliding it into my drawer, putting the Sea Hunter right onto a strap, which for me feels a bit more at home. It pairs incredibly well with a wide variety of straps out there, as I found myself swapping between nylon and rubber options pretty much on a daily basis. Given the design language of it too, it works incredibly well with different colors, especially earth tones and warmer hues. Now overall, I will say that the bracelet is a very decent option. I personally just prefer this watch on a strap. Looking back at the case of the watch, almost every surface carries industrial polishing, meaning that the watch will pick up a lot of scratches with wear. As you can probably see in some of this B-roll here, I have already started to put a few in there of my own. Set just above the case is the 120 click elapsed time bezel with shallow grooves, though it does still offer decent grip with snappy action, though it does have a bit of a tinny sound. The black aluminum bezel insert leaves the timing marker silver while holding a faux aged color lume pip at 0, and in my opinion is a nice touch, meaning that it will age over time and pick up scratches just like the old one used to. Remaining largely faithful to the original, the black dial holds a white minute track at the outer edge, interrupted every 5 minutes with a large rectangular lume plot for the hours, with Arabic numerals differentiating 12, 6, and 9, while a date window cut into the dial reveals the white date disc beneath. Caravelle opted to stick with the original hands on this model, similar to the older vintage-inspired divers, though not often seen on other modern watches outside of Longines. A rounded arrow hand manages hours, while a sword hand manages minutes, then just above, a simple white hand ticks away. Overall, I will say that legibility on this model is pretty excellent given the clean design language, though I will say that that faux aged lume doesn't perform all that well when light comes, and it doesn't last all that long, emitting a bit of a duller glow and fading a little bit quicker than white lume would have. Inside beats the automatic 8215-33E, a fairly basic automatic workhorse running at 3 Hz or 21,600 vibrations per hour, with an adequate power reserve of roughly 42 hours. And while that might not be the most thrilling movement on the market, it does a really good job of keeping the price point on this watch down right at that $375 price, and that right there really is the case to be made for this watch. At that price point of $375, there's not a lot of competition out there for an automatic diver with 200 meters of water resistance and a screw down crown, especially with unique styling. Now, sure, you can sit there in the comments section and claim that there's a lot of watches out there for $100 or $200, but I guarantee you you're pulling those links from some place like AliExpress or Amazon. If you want something with genuine, simple styling that is actually from their own catalog, there's not a lot to compete with this Caravelle Sea Hunter. However, since its launch, there have been 3 big points of contention that people have been pointing out about the Sea Hunter that we probably should talk about very quickly. First and foremost is that faux aged lume. A lot of people out there have been screaming for white lume, and yes, it probably would have performed a little bit better. However, given the success of this piece, I do assume that Caravelle will probably follow it up with a more modern styled option. Now, second of all is the mineral crystal. People have been shouting that they wish it was sapphire and that mineral at this point is just outdated. However, there I will argue again that if you put sapphire on this watch, yes, it would have definitely made it a bit more of an elevated piece, but the price would have elevated as well. And the mineral does add a little bit of warmth and charm to the watch, again playing into that vintage styling. And third, of course, is the movement. The Miyota 8000 series at this point is a bit outdated, and yes, the industry has largely passed it by. Yes, a Miyota 9000 would have been great, but again, we would have seen the price probably double. And personally, I think if the price doubles on this watch, it becomes a much less compelling piece. And there is something romantic about the crunchiness of that 8000 series that reminds me a lot of that shake and bake 7S movement from the Seiko SKX, and it brings me back to that old style of hunting through the forums from a really cheap beat up Seiko SKX that I really love about this Caravelle Sea Hunter. And one that I think Bulova and Caravelle both did a great job of doing when they released their own vintage-inspired diver, while not being too redundant and too similar to the rest of the industry, instead staying in their lane and offering what they do best, a very attainable dive watch with an automatic movement, with the jewels just like they used to compete at the lower end of the market and offer something out there for the masses. That is just my opinion though, and I would really love to know yours in that comment section down below. With all of that being said though, I know your time is valuable and I really do appreciate you spending some of it with me. I will be back next week for another video, but until then, peace.